On the hidden mist bridge, a cart of explosive tags ignites. No one sees the fuse burning. In seconds, the crowd will be gone. A single snap. The world freezes. For the next 10 seconds, only Yusei moves. He has no time to waste.
Fuse cut. Tags disarmed. 7 seconds left. That's enough.
Time resumes. The crowd walks on, oblivious. The cart sits silent. Yusei disappears into the mist. 3 years earlier, in the Hidden Mist's restricted library, Yusei discovered an erased scroll buried on a misfiled shelf. The scroll spoke of a forbidden jutsu, a 10-second time stop with one unbreakable rule. A 24-hour cooldown between uses. For 3 years, he trained in secret. Not for ambition, not for revenge, only to stop the deaths he saw coming.
Another quiet shift. Stamp a few cards. Read a few reports. But tomorrow, the clock resets.
When the clock strikes midnight, his power resets. Ready for another 10 seconds. Another life saved. Yusei closes his eyes. Tomorrow, the world will need him again. The next morning, a classified scroll arrives at the library. Yusei breaks the seal and reads. His expression hardens. Report. A foreign kunoichi codenamed Hinata has infiltrated the village. Target, the Mizukage. Attack window, tonight.
She'll strike tonight. My power just reset. 1 use, 10 seconds. It must be enough. If I fail, the Mizukage dies. No one else knows. I can't let her see me use it.
He returns the scroll to the shelf and resumes his shift as if nothing happened. But tonight, he will be on the rooftops, under cover of darkness. Hinata slips past the village boundary. Silent as mist, her target looms in the center.
The Mizukage's tower. I'll end this mission before dawn. Nothing can stop me now.
She moves like a shadow, past patrolling guards. Her mission brief was clear. Kill the Mizukage and vanish.
I see her. Rooftop, northeast approach. 2 minutes until she reaches the tower. I have to intercept here.
The clock ticks toward midnight. Yusei's hand flexes, ready to snap. One wrong move, and the secret he's guarded for years could be exposed. Yusei snaps his fingers. The world halts. A blue wave washes over the rooftop, and Hinata freezes mid-lunge.
10 seconds. No sound, no resistance. She doesn't know I am here.
He moves with practiced calm. Her kunai, her shuriken, her wire. He removes each one and places them silently on the roof edge.
She's skilled, but this ends here. Without her weapons, she can't complete the mission.
He steps back to his original position. With another snap, the world restarts. Time floods back.
My strike. I didn't even finish it. Where are my weapons? He was standing there, then nothing.
She spins, scanning for an attack, but the rooftop is empty, except for the pile of her own gear. Far below, a dark figure walks calmly into the mist. Not a ninja, not a killer, just a librarian returning home.
He disarmed me without a fight. He could have killed me. Why didn't he? I have to find out. The mission can wait. This is bigger than any report. I need to know who he is.
The mist had no answers, but footprints did. By dawn, Hinata stood outside the library, her patience thin and her weapons replaced. Inside, Yusei stamped a borrower card. The shift in the air told him he wasn't alone.
You, the rooftop. Explain now.
I am just a librarian. You must be mistaken.
The silence stretched between them, heavy as the ancient scrolls that lined the walls. Yusei's calm mask didn't crack, but his mind raced.
I was mid-strike and then I wasn't. My weapons were on the roof. You vanished. No genjutsu. What are you?
She's too sharp. Deny it and she'll dig deeper. Admit it and my life is over. I have to misdirect her somehow.
Yusei's hand hovered near the stamp. He could end this, but something held him back.
I am not leaving. Lock the door. I'll come through the window. Report me. I'll tell them about the man who freezes time.
She's cornered me in my own sanctuary. One shout and it's over. But she's giving me a chance. Why?
I could have left the village and called reinforcements. But I didn't, because this isn't just about the Mizukage, the Kage I answer to. He's obsessed with a power erased from history, a jutsu that controls time. He sent me to confirm if it had resurfaced.
The erased scroll. She's talking about my jutsu. The Kage was the one who tried to bury it. What does this Kage want with it?
Total control. He's terrified. Someone else could wield it. He's been hunting any trace for years.
In a dark chamber far away, the foreign Kage watched shadows dance on the wall, waiting for a report that never came. He had erased the jutsu from history 2 centuries ago. If it had truly returned, he would stop at nothing to reclaim it.
This librarian, he's the target of a war he doesn't even know about, and I'm standing in the middle.
Yusei saw the truth in her eyes. She wasn't his enemy, not yet, but the Kage would be, and that made her the only ally he might have.
Then, I have something he wants, and you just became my only lead. The jutsu stops time for exactly 10 seconds. I can move, think, act, no one else. But after I use it, a full day must pass before it works again.
10 seconds, and a 24-hour wait. That's why he didn't kill me. He couldn't risk wasting his only window on someone who might not be the real threat.
She's already connecting the dots. I can't tell her about the scroll, or how many times I've used it. Just the rules. That's all she needs.
And during that time, you are completely untouchable. No one has ever resisted?
Not once. When I snap, the world obeys. There's no counter.
I was mid-lunge. He could have killed me 10 times over. Instead, he stacked my weapons and walked away. That's not power. That's self-control. Let me see it. Just a second. No threat. I won't move. I need to understand what I am dealing with.
Number. Every second costs. And right now, with the Kage hunting me, you are asking me to disarm for your curiosity. I don't trust you that much.
Fair. He's not a fool, but he did trust me with this much. That means he knows he can't survive this alone.
So the two stood in the dust-flecked library, bound by a secret neither could afford to share. Allies by necessity, still enemies by circumstance. The next move was already forming. Not an hour later, a tremor shook the village. An old tenement groaned, its supports snapping. Yusei and Hinata halted mid-step, eyes locked on the crumbling rooftop.
Cooldown, not reset. If I use it again now, my body might not hold. But those people...
He didn't finish the thought. His hand shot up, fingers poised. Hinata's protest died on her lips as the familiar snap echoed.
8 seconds. Get the child out first. Push the old man clear. Beam falls there. Move the mother. Done.
Time snapped back. The building folded where the crowd had stood, but no one was under it. Yusei stumbled, a thin line of blood trickling from his nose.
You said you couldn't use it. That was reckless. You are bleeding.
I know the cost. They're alive. That's what mattered.
Hinata pulled his arm over her shoulder. No words, just a shared weight. The librarian who could freeze time now leaned on the assassin sent to kill his Kage.
He's not a threat. He's a shield, and he'll break it before he lets anyone die. I was sent to kill for a madman. I'd rather guard this fool.
They vanished into the mist, his secret now resting in the hands of the enemy. Or rather, the only ally he had left. Later, in the dust-flecked library, Hinata finally spoke the words she had been holding back. The weight of 2 centuries hung in the air.
My Kage. He's the one who erased the Jutsu. 200 years ago, he purged every scroll, killed every master. He wanted to be the only one.
So it wasn't forgotten. It was hunted. He's the reason it lay buried on a misfiled shelf for me to find.
In a distant chamber, the foreign Kage watched the shadows tremble. His informants were silent. That meant only one thing. The Jutsu had resurfaced.
He sent me to confirm. If I reported back that the time stop was active, he'd come personally. No army, just him. He doesn't trust anyone else.
He didn't erase the Jutsu because he wanted control. He did it because he's terrified. My power is the one thing he can't counter.
The Kage's hand crushed a report. If the time stop was back, his worst fear had come true. Someone had rediscovered the one power that could undo him.
Then he'll come here. If you don't report, he'll send others. If you do, he comes anyway. We're out of time.
I can't go back. He'd kill me for failing, for even knowing this much. My only path now is forward, with him.
The silence that followed was heavier than any threat. Yusei now understood. He wasn't just a protector. He was the target of a war centuries in the making. The first battle would be at his doorstep. 3 figures melted out of the mist at the village edge. Elite Jounin, their headbands marked with the foreign Kage's symbol. They had come for the wielder.
They're not here for the Mizukage. They're here for you. I'll hold them. You run.
My cooldown won't reset for hours. No snap, no freeze. Just me and 3 trained killers.
Yusei didn't run. He closed the distance in an instant, taijutsu honed by years of secret training. The first ninja never saw the strike that dislocated his shoulder.
He's more than a librarian. Every move is efficient, brutal. He's been fighting alone for years.
Together, they dismantled the squad. Hinata's kunai found the leader's throat. Yusei's sweep sent the second into the dirt. Only one remained, the last ninja. Bleeding out, pressed a seal on his wrist. A flare of chakra shot into the sky. Information delivered. Mission complete.
He saw the fight. He knows my face. Now there's no hiding. The Kage is coming.
Far away, the foreign Kage watched the signal bloom on his scrying map. The face of the librarian burned into his mind. He rose from his throne. He would not send another team. He would come himself. The librarian had one day, perhaps 2, to prepare. The final confrontation was inevitable. Before dawn, Anbu came. No warning, no warrant. Yusei and Hinata were escorted to the Mizukage's tower, the village leader's silence heavier than any accusation.
A time-stop jutsu, forbidden, erased from history, and you, a librarian, wield it behind my back. Explain.
Lord Mizukage, the foreign Kage is responsible. He erased the jutsu 2 centuries ago. He sent me, and then sent others. Yusei is the only reason the first attempt failed.
Then, you will surrender the jutsu to him. If this Kage wants a scroll, let him have it. I will not sacrifice my village for your secret.
No, this power isn't a trophy to hand over. It's the only thing that stops a tyrant who's feared it for 2 centuries. If I give it to him, we all die.
You would defy your Kage's order. To protect a forbidden technique, you should never have learned.
I will protect this village my own way. The Kage is coming for me, not you. I'll meet him outside the walls. If I fail, the scroll dies with me.
The Mizukage's word was law, but Yusei walked out. Hinata, at his side, no longer an assassin, no longer a spy, just an ally, stepping into the cold mist, now outcasts. They had only hours before the foreign Kage arrived, but Yusei carried no regrets, only a plan and a partner worth trusting. The final battle would be on his terms. At noon, the mist burned away, revealing a line of dark figures on the horizon. The foreign Kage had arrived with his elite guard, and the village gates trembled.
He came in person. No more games. If Yusei doesn't show, he'll raise the village out of spite.
A voice boomed across the square. Bring me the time wielder, or your Kage's head will crown my spear. Yusei stepped into the open, hands raised.
I am here, but you won't touch this village. You've feared this moment for 200 years. Now watch.
The snap shattered the air. Everyone froze. The guards, the villagers, the charging shinobi. Only Yusei and the foreign Kage remained untouched, locked in a silent stare.
8 seconds left. Disarm the guards, scatter their weapons. Leave the Kage untouched. He needs to see this.
3 seconds. 2. He returned to his spot. 1. The snap echoed again. Time erupted back, and the army collapsed into confusion, stripped of every blade.
He did it. In front of everyone. Now there's no going back. But maybe. Now they'll believe us.
Impressive. But you've only delayed the inevitable. This doesn't end until the Jutsu is mine, or you are dead.
The Kage retreated, but his oath lingered. Yusei's secret was no longer his own. Now it belonged to the village and the world. The real fight was just beginning. The foreign Kage stepped forward, alone. His guards retreated to the shadows, and his voice cut through the stunned silence like a blade.
One fight, no interference. Winner takes the Jutsu and the loser's life. Do you accept, librarian?
Accepted. But don't think I only have one trick. You've feared this power for centuries. Today, you face the man behind it.
He's got a plan. I've seen that look before. It's reckless, but it's the only way we survive this.
The Kage raised his hand, and a dark ripple spread outward. Space itself trembled. This was no ordinary jutsu. It was a countermeasure designed specifically for the time stop.
A space-time distortion. He's blocking my snap. Clever. But he doesn't realize I've been training for this moment for years.
Your tiny snap won't save you. In this field, time flows only by my will. You are just a librarian out of his depth.
Good. Let him think it's over. When his guard drops, I'll use the one thing he didn't expect. Myself. Time isn't my only weapon.
He's going to fight without the time stop. I know his skill. He's more than a librarian. This will be brutal, but he's ready.
The duel was set in stone. No more tricks, no more army, just 2 men, a crumbling square, and the weight of 2 centuries. The sun dipped below the walls as the first move drew near. The Kage lunged first, faster than any shinobi Yusei had faced. The air screamed with the force of his opening strike.
Can't block. Too powerful. Sidestep, then counter. He leaves his left shoulder open.
Yusei's palm struck the Kage's armor, but the counter barely dented it. The Kage laughed, his dark aura pressing down.
A librarian with bruises and no tricks. Did you think your taijutsu would save you?
A brutal kick sent Yusei skidding across the stone. Blood dripped from his lip. Hinata shouted from the sidelines, but the distortion field threw her back.
He can't hold on like this. That field is a fortress. But his eyes, he's still waiting for something.
Every hit teaches me his rhythm. He only leads with the right. Overconfident.
Without your jutsu, you are nothing. Just a man who should have stayed in the library.
You are right. So, I'll just have to beat you without it.
The Kage's arrogance made his field flicker. In that heartbeat, Yusei's hand rose to snap. The waiting was over. The snap shattered the thick, still air. Time fractured, and the translucent system alert appeared. Time stop, 10 seconds.
Every second exact. No room for error. This must end here.
He moved calmly, pulling a prepared scroll of explosive tags from his sleeve. No wasted motion.
5 seconds. 1 tag on his chest, 1 on his back, the third right where his fist gathers its deadliest energy.
With chakra threads, he rerouted the Kage's own distorted space-time energy, binding it into a self-consuming loop around the tags.
3 seconds. Once time resumes, his own power will trigger an implosion from which no technique can shield.
He stepped back, his blood painting the cobblestones. The countdown flashed to 2.
1. This is for everyone you've hunted, every name you've erased.
He returned to his starting spot, hand raised, fingers poised for the second snap. The strain burned, but his focus held. The world remained still, a perfect freeze frame of the Kage trapped in his own doom. The last count began. The second snap tore through the silence. Time resumed with a roar, and the Kage's own distorted energy imploded. Swallowed by the tags, a blistering sphere of light consumed him, no wider than a room. His armor cracked, his mask split, and the Kage collapsed to his knees. The distortion field collapsed, and his elite guard stood frozen in horror. The tyrant who had ruled for 2 centuries was broken.
You, the librarian, you've done what no one else could. The Jutsu was never meant to be chained.
He won. Without an army, without a word of thanks. He stood in the open and ended a war.
Yusei's hourglass eyes dimmed. The cost hit him at once. Blood, exhaustion, the weight of years. The village was silent. He tried to stand, but his legs gave way. No more tricks, no more seconds, just a body that had paid the price. Hinata caught him before he hit the stone. Her arms steadied the man who had once been her target. Now he was the reason she stayed.
You are heavier than a stack of scrolls. But I've got you. Just breathe.
Enbu moved in, binding the Kage. The army surrendered. And as the square emptied, Yusei finally let his eyes close, the world safe for a moment, barely conscious. Yusei felt the weight of 1,000 stairs. The square, once a battlefield, now held only the silent awe of his people. The Mizukage descended from the tower, his guards forming a path. His eyes held neither anger nor warmth, only the burden of law.
Librarian Yusei, you wielded a forbidden jutsu, defied my order, and stood alone. Yet this village still breathes because of you. The jutsu remains forbidden. Its existence is a danger I cannot ignore, but your actions cannot be condemned.
Forbidden. Always forbidden. But tonight it saved everyone. I don't need their praise, just their peace. I only want to go back to my shelves, Lord Mizukage. The library is where I belong.
Very well. Return to your dust and scrolls. But from this day, you are no ordinary librarian. The village will remember.
He's free. Neither a hero nor a prisoner. Just himself. That's more than I ever thought he'd get.
The crowd parted for them, not as outcasts, but as something more. The whispers would follow, but so would the safety they had bought. By the time they reached the library, Yusei could barely stand. But the scent of old scrolls was the only victory he had ever wanted. A few days had passed. Yusei was back at his desk, a fresh stack of returns beside him. The morning light fell across the library like forgiveness.
The ink pad still smells the same. The stamps clink like always. Everything is where it should be.
The library door opened. But this time, no threat followed. Only Hinata, carrying a tray with tea. She moved like she belonged there.
You are not supposed to be working. The medic said rest.
Resting would mean letting the return stack pile up. I've already read the reports. Nothing urgent.
She set the tea beside a freshly stamped card. The quiet between them was comfortable now, no longer careful.
You could have been anything after that day. Anbu captain, tactical advisor. Why this?
Because this is what I want to protect. Not the tower, not the titles. This, the quiet, the shelves, the smell of old paper.
Hinata picked up a book, smiled, and took a seat. She wasn't leaving. The library felt smaller, but in the way a home does.
Peace was never about hiding. It was about having something to guard. And now, someone to guard it with.
Late that night, Yusei sat alone in his modest apartment. The only light came from a single lantern. His fingers broke the seal without hesitation. The ink patterns revealed a report from a distant border. He read slowly, absorbing each line. The report spoke of shadows gathering in the east, and a mark last seen in his own eyes, movement in the eastern lands. Unusual activity. A symbol seen, one that hasn't appeared in centuries.
Another one. Someone else who heard the legend. They'll come looking for power they don't understand.
For a moment, his eyes flickered with that old blue light. the hourglass rune ready if called. Then it faded.
Not tonight. Tonight, the village sleeps. If they come, I'll be here. 10 seconds is all I need.
He rolled the scroll and set it aside. The anger of years past had cooled into a quiet, unshakable confidence. The librarian's shift never truly ends. But for tonight, the village sleeps safe, and that is enough. He blew out the lantern. In the darkness, the hourglass kept its silent watch, waiting for the next snap. A week later, Yusei walked through the market, a borrowed book under his arm. The village had returned to its rhythms. A child darted into the street. A merchant's cart, heavy with barrels, swung around the corner. No one saw the danger. Yusei's hand rose. No thought, no hesitation. Just a single, practiced snap. The world froze. The cart locked mid-turn. The child hung suspended in a half-step. 10 seconds began.
Move her aside. Brace the cart. 3 seconds used. Put the barrel back. 4. Now, resume.
Time surged forward. The cart rattled harmlessly by. A mother scooped up her child, unaware of how close they had come. A few glanced at the cart, puzzled by the sudden adjustment, but no one looked at the librarian.
10 seconds. Just enough to give them a lifetime. No applause, no reports. Just a quiet morning.
The village never knew how many times the clock had paused for them. They only knew that somehow, their days were a little safer, and that was all he ever wanted. That evening, as the library closed, Yusei paused at the door. The last patrons had gone, leaving only the scent of old paper. He straightened a fallen scroll. The hourglass in his chest felt quiet. So was the village.
No alarms tonight. No reports to steal. Just a library, a village, and the silence between them.
His dark blue eyes flickered. Just for a second. With the rotating rune. A habit now. A promise.
10 seconds. Once a day. That's all the world needs from me. The rest is just this.
Hinata appeared in the doorway. Her own shift ended. She didn't speak. She just nodded. They walked out together. Outside, the mist was gentle. Lanterns flickered across the roofs. Life went on, unaware of the librarian who could stop time.
Maybe tomorrow I'll be needed. Or next week. Or the day after. I'll be ready.
But for now, there was tea to make, a cat on the windowsill, and an old scroll to read by candlelight. The forbidden jutsu had never been about power. It was about protection, quiet, patient, eternal, and the librarian who guarded it would never stop. The library was dark, save for a single lamp. Yusei slid the last scroll into its place, the sound of dust settling in the silence. Hinata waited by the entrance, her cloak on. She had taken to staying until the last borrower card was stamped.
All clear?
All clear. Same time tomorrow.
They stepped into the misty street. Lantern light pooled on the cobblestones. The village was asleep. At the crossroads, they paused. No words needed. A glance, a nod, and they parted for the night.
Tomorrow may bring another threat, or just a returned book. Either way, I'll be here.
He placed his hand on the desk, fingers resting near a well-used stamp. In the dim light, they looked like a man ready to snap. Over the village, the mist hung like a held breath. The clock struck midnight, and somewhere, a librarian smiled. The hourglass turned, and time, for now, belonged to the safe. The next morning, the library doors opened as they always had. The first shaft of light fell across the old wooden counter. Hinata was already inside, returning a stack of scrolls to their proper shelves. She didn't need to be there, but she was.
You are getting faster at reshelving than I am.
Someone has to keep order around here.
This is what I wanted. The same sounds, the same light. A day where the only emergency is a misplaced scroll.
Outside, the village was waking. A merchant called out. Children laughed. No one knew the clock that guarded them. In his apartment, the sealed report lay untouched. Shadows in the east would wait. Today was for stamps and tea.
I'll be ready when the time comes. But readiness doesn't mean living in fear. It means living well.
The librarian's secret was safe. Not because it was hidden, but because he guarded it with something rarer than a jutsu, patience. And as the sun set, a single hand raised, fingers poised not to stop time, but to promise that the next 10 seconds would always be enough.